Hey, Mike, do you have a local sighting to talk about?
Yeah, well, the museum this time of year, well, it's almost the end of summer now, but being summertime, we're open 6 days a week anyway, and pretty much all day long, and I'm in here every day, and people come in here on a regular basis. We get at the max maybe 50, 60 people through here in a day, at least 15 or 20 during the summer, and quite often these folks have stories to tell. And here's just a few examples of what came in just in the last couple of days. Here's just a quick little note. Now, sometimes, I'll get a lot of detailed information for these people. Other times, I can't really do that because they've got other people they're with, and those people are tugging on their shirt sleeves, wanting to leave, But these people would love to stay for hours, but, So sometimes these stories are short and to the point. And one, for example, was a man told me about something called a Large Unknown Predator Project. And this is one that I'm going to follow up on when I get a chance. And he said it was part of a winter kill study that was taking place in Colorado, and that this study was being undergone all the way from Wyoming down to New Mexico. They were having these strange kills were being discovered, and the University of Colorado was doing this particular study at the present time in association with the Department of Fish and Wildlife in Colorado. And I don't have a lot of details about it, but he said that the thing that they were finding that was so bizarre and that led to the study were these elk. They find elk that have been killed, and the only thing missing from the elk is their livers. So here's these dead elk with all their bodies intact except the livers have been taken. And of course, we've all heard stories similar to that having to do with deer and Bigfoot. So just kind of an interesting little tidbit that I'm hoping to follow up on in the future. Another example was a man who came in here about 2 days ago and said that he'd been in the museum in the past, a few months back, and I'd shown him our local sighting map and discussed some of our local events, and he asked me flat out, he said, well, tell me then, if I wanted to go out and have a Bigfoot event, where would I go? And so I told him a couple of spots that I felt were the most likely to end up in an event. And well, he came in and said that in the month of July, he decided to go test my information and see if he could have a Bigfoot event. And so he brought a friend with him who he said is a total skeptic and had never considered any of this stuff even worthy of talking about, much less to be taken seriously. And he took this guy out with him, and the first thing they did was they went to, in early July, they went to Quail Hollow, which is an area where we've had multiple reports. We've had prowler events, and we've had chickens taken. I've talked about this place in the past. And so he said that they went out there about between 2 and 3 in the morning. They parked near the entrance to Quail Hollow Park, which is it's a day-use only park, and they have a pond there, and they have a nature center, and they have walking trails and so forth. It's a nice little park, and happens to be in an area where we've had several Bigfoot reports. So they walked down into the park, left the car parked up by the road, and they said they got a ways into the park, and so then they stopped, and he said he made a whooping call, kind of a whoop call, a typical sort of Bigfoot call that people use. And he said he immediately got a response from a coyote. I mean, it was pretty obviously a coyote that called back. But then he said what was really bizarre was shortly after the coyote call, he heard a call from something else that had a much deeper voice, and it was more of a kind of bellowing yell. And it seemed to be a direct response to the coyote call. So they looked at each other, and they were kind of, wow, that was weird. That was very, very strange. So what should we do? And so they decided, well, they'd wait 15 minutes to be precise, and then try it again and see if it would happen again. So they waited 15 minutes, and he said they then went through the same process. They They gave a whoop, as loud and deep a whoop as he could muster. Shortly thereafter, there was a reply from what appeared to be a coyote, and then right after that, once again, another sort of bellowing yell in response. So at that point, they decided to maybe to leave the area, and they were heading back up the trail, and they said they heard this loud snapping. It sounded like something had broken a limb off a tree, but there was this sudden pop, crack of a limb breaking. And that was pretty much it, but he felt that what they had experienced, they both felt that it was significant, and that they really had gotten a response. So then they went to another area, Nicene Marks, where we've had all kinds of events, including where we shot our video. And there's a campsite in there that has no facilities. There's no running water. There's no power. You have to hike 7 miles to get into the camp. So they hiked in. I told them that's where I would go if I was looking for a Bigfoot event. And they said that they decided to try some wood knocking. So they took a stick and they hit a madrone tree that had a nice hollow sound to it, and they went pop, pop, and hit it about 3 times and waited a few seconds, and then there was a response. They got some knocks back. They could hear it. It didn't sound like it was all that far away. So they felt that was pretty amazing. And but it was getting late. They were both pretty tired because they'd had that long hike. And the man who came in and told me the story, he said he went right to sleep as soon as he laid down inside his tent. But his friend, the skeptic, couldn't go to sleep because he kept hearing the sound of something walking around their tents. And he said the whole time they were there, he could hear what sounded like something walking. He could hear twigs breaking and heavy footfalls. And he said it's pretty much scared the bejeebies out of him, and he couldn't go to sleep as a result.